So good evening, everybody. It's Philip Emmanuel here. Welcome to this amazing edition. Please, you are, please kindly mute yourself just in case the background is noisy. So welcome to this amazing edition of the Shape Community Hangout. If this is your first time, and I think there are some persons who are joining us for the first time, I wouldn't know. But you just tell us where you are logged in from, your name and where you are logged in from in the chat section. Tell us your name, where you logged in from, and more importantly, tell us if this is your first time. So if it's your first time, just indicate that this is my first time. All right. Your name, where you logged in for, and indicate if it's your first time. How do I see the okay, I can see it.
Good evening, everyone. I don't know if you can hear me. Hello?
I can hear you very well, sir.
Okay. My name is Ben Collins. This is my first time. I'm logging in from UAE.
UAE, good to have you here, Ben. Amazing. How's the United Arab Emirates this evening?
Very hot.
It's all over there.
Very hot. My Jesus. Very, very, very hot.
Wow. I'm waiting for more introduction. Chinese from Port Harcourt. More persons, you can use the comment section if you can't turn on your mic. You can use the comment section just in case you can't turn on your mic. I'm waiting. I'm seeing more persons on the call. Why is Esther not saying something? Why is Kola Wally not saying something? Why is I see somebody again. Why is Messi not saying something?
Messi just dropped a comment.
Oh, she just did. Okay.
Yes.
Messi from Benin. Doc, good to have you here. Okay. Without further ado, I just want us to get into the main gist for this evening. And please, we'll be engaging. Maybe you might need to learn with a book and a pen. And in case you are just joining us, you are welcome. You are welcome. Welcome back, Mrs. Bemisola. Welcome, everyone. We're going to be in a very, very interesting time. If you've seen the flyer, you see we're talking about something very. I'm not teaching basically. I just want to set the tune for how the meeting will go. At some point, you will see that every one of us will be contributing collectively, and I'm hoping that we can come up with something in this meeting that can be converted to a PDF and then sent to everybody. I'm hoping. Good to see you, Kolawole from Benin. Good to see you, Esther from Kaduna. Good to have you here. I'm hoping that we can come up with something. So if you saw the flyer maybe on social media, on WhatsApp status, on Telegram community, you notice we are talking about a very important issue in this hangout: evolve, and it is giving yourself permission to transcend old patterns. It is giving yourself permission to transcend old patterns. All right. So, we're looking at some very basic. Then, how many of us know Samsung? How many of us know Samsung? You know Samsung? Just signify. Everybody should know Samsung, right? Read what you have on the screen. Does this sound? I just want to know if this sounds strange. Read what you have on your screen. Does this dictate about Samsung sound strange to you? Does it sound strange? Right now. Do well to tell me in the chat. Tell me in the chat. These details you see right here, does it sound strange to you? That Lee started Samsung as a trading company based in the city of. That's a Korean name, Tagu. Just in case I murdered the name, please forgive me. Yeah, Messi says it sounds strange. In 1938, with about 40 employees. Then Samsung began as a grocery store. Basically, they sold dried fish. You can imagine. Yeah, they sold dried fish, dried Korean fish, vegetables, as well as its own noodles. So the way you have Indomie. You know, Indomie is the name of that brand. The way you have Mini Me, the way you have, for those of you who are Nigerians, the way you have Dangote. That's how Samsung used to be a noodle. Just pause for a second. Just imagine you go to the shop today to buy noodles, and instead of you saying give me Indomie, you're saying give me Samsung. How does this sound? You're saying give me Samsung, and Samsung is actually the name of the noodles. It used to be like this. It used to be like this until please mute if you are joining the meeting. It used to be like this. I will really appreciate a very engaging conversation, please. It used to be like this until something happened. Guess what happened? I want to guess what happened. I wish I was seeing our faces so I can just be pointing us and saying guess. Okay, I see this stuff. Guess what happened? Or guess what happened? Samsung used to sell dry fish. That's the story. Samsung used to sell dry fish. You know those if you're Nigerian, those Oporoko used to buy. Samsung used to sell it. That's how Samsung started. And they used to sell noodles. Well, something happened. I who can guess what happened? That made Samsung stop selling noodles. Who can guess what happened that made Samsung stop selling noodles? That made Samsung stop um stop selling fish, ice dried fish. Who can guess what happened? I'm not getting feedback. This meeting is going to be very boring for me. I don't know how to do this without feedback. Okay, let me be positive and optimistic. You people are gathering the ideas, so it will not be boring for me. All right. So the company grew and expanded, and in 1947, something happened. That's the Korean War. The war broke out, and following the war, the founder of Samsung, Lee, started the sugar refinery. Then he later expanded into textile and building what was at the time the largest woolen mill in Korea. So the same Samsung, see the evolution of Samsung from selling dried fish, from selling noodles. The war broke out, and suddenly business was affected. Just like some of you during the COVID, things happened that affected your business, affected even your individual life, your career, affected all of those things. Okay, that affected all of those things, your career and everything. And this was exactly what happened with Samsung. The war was so fierce that some things just had to change. Some things just had to change. They just had to change with it. And then that's how the founder expanded into started sugar refinery and started expanding into textile, producing meal. But even at that, the evolution still continued into 1960s, the 1970s, the 1980s. So within 1960, get out of here. Within 1960 to 1980, Samsung then went into what some of you know them for, which is electronics. All right. I'm going somewhere. Remember, I'm setting the tune for this meeting, so I'm laying a foundation. So you just follow me. So they went into what we call electronics. What you know them for? I know we used to have a TV in our house, and that TV was made by Samsung. But then when we move further to 90 to 2000, they went into telecommunication. This was, you wouldn't know, but Samsung was into printing, digital printing press. The way you have it, so they were printing. All of this evolution were happening. From 2000 to present, it is even the most recent evolution of Samsung is phones. So we don't know what the next decade holds for Samsung, but we see a firm who has constantly been evolving. All right. And it's not just Samsung. I know you've seen countless number. You have at your fingertip, you can count a number of them. For them, what actually pushed them to shift from selling fish? I like pronouncing the fish, dried fish and noodles, was the war that broke out. I know of a guy, his name is Dwayne Johnson. You know Dwayne Johnson now, Fast and Furious. That guy that is many ladies spec, biceps,
The
well,
Rock.
The Rock. Yes, The Rock. It might interest you to know that The Rock used to be a comedian in the class of the Steve Harvey. He was with the Steve Harvey and the rest of them. How many of you are aware about that? How many of you are aware?
I do.
Who knows that? Okay, thank you, Shimizu. Who knows that The Rock was formerly a comedian? He was doing stand-up comedy, but somehow he didn't do well in stand-up comedy. So he took to boxing and then to wrestling. Took to wrestling, the whole fighting stuff. Okay, I'm seeing feedback. I know he was into wrestling at a point. Yes, he was into that. That's where he got the household name, The Rock. But now the guy has evolved. The guy has evolved, and now he's an on-screen actor. He's one of the best you can find in the game right now. In fact, he's highly sought after, and his roles are unique to him. That's a man that has evolved throughout history, and we have one evolution currently playing out before us right now. Who can guess what is playing out? There's something that is playing, and I love this story. I love this story. There's a way CNN captured it, so I had to just take the screenshot from CNN, the way they captured it. I just like the way they captured it. Serena Williams announces she will evolve away from tennis. The emphasis on evolve away from tennis after just this US Open happening right now. It's been an amazing journey for her over the years, 2 decades and extra 3 years, and it's been amazing. But now, imagine you have given your life to a particular venture, a particular enterprise, all your life. All your life, you've dedicated it to a particular venture and exercise, and suddenly there is a need for you to do this. Remember, you're already attached to these things. You're attached to that business already. You're attached. I don't know why my voice is echoing. What's happening? Okay, you're attached to that relationship. You're attached to that environment. You're attached to that country. You're attached to that state, and things are calling for you. Might be calling for you to move on, but you don't even know how to move on. I love the way Serena puts it. And this amazing lady. You know her, right? The face is very familiar. And this is what she said. She said, there comes a time in life when we have to decide to move in a different direction. That time is always hard when you love something so much. When you love the job, the apartment, the location so much. In our own exclamation, like, my goodness, I enjoy tennis. But now the countdown has begun. I have to focus on being a mom. Take note of the words in red. I have to focus on being a mom, my spiritual goals, and finally discovering a different but just exciting Serena. This is a lady who circumstances is not calling. If you leave her to do tennis, she want to do it all her life. But now she's a very sensitive person who knows that there is something calling for my attention. Somebody will say higher is the calling. Maybe higher is calling her. And now she's not just saying I'm moving away, she's evolving away from tennis. She's embracing the courage, or she's giving herself the permission to close this chapter and then open up a new and different chapter for her. For her, what might be causing her to evolve now is family. Basically, when you see the tune, is family. She say, I'm being a mom. So maybe for family reasons, maybe for marital reasons and spiritual goals, she has to move on. She has to move on. I think that's the word. She's not moving away, she's moving on. You know, sometimes they tell people, move on, move on, move on. Sometimes they tell you move on is like leaving the thing or forgetting about it. Not necessarily. With the whole experience, with the victories, with the flaws, she's moving on with it. She's evolving with it, because this is not the Serena 20 years ago. Something different has happened to her all along. She's evolving with the experience with something more unique and different. So for her, it has been a mom. For her, it's her spiritual goals. For her, the it is the thought of having to discover a different person from her, different lady from the lady she has seen in the past 20 years. For Samsung, it was the Korean War that broke out in the 1930s that made them stop selling stockfish. I say stockfish, don't mind me, dried fish. That made them stop selling dried fish. And seriously, right now on this call, I don't know what it is that makes people involved, but this is where I want us to have a conversation. This is where I want us to have a conversation. And now, how do we know when it's time to evolve? How do you know it is time to leave that job? How do you know it is time to leave that career path? How do you know it is time to leave that state? How do you know it is time to evolve from that country? How do you know it is time to evolve from what is your routine? Some of it is your routine. That's your routine that you normally keep. How do you know it is time to move on from it? not really move away from it, move on from it, or move on with it, or evolve from it? Well, I don't know, but I have just one reason. I am hoping that in this conversation we can drop many more reasons, and yes, you'll be turning on your mic to speak, please, because I want us to fill this slide with our reasons. I know there's a wisdom in you. I know many of you have had to evolve from things in the past, and many of you are still evolving right now. So I want to know, how do you know it is time to evolve? How do you know it is time? How do you know that this is the time I should just move on from this? For me, this is the only thing I could think about when you realize that the only thing holding you back is the fear of the unknown. You know it is time. You know you don't feel excited about that thing anymore. You know you not think more about the past than about the present. The past is looking so glorious. Okay, Sarah and Joanne, I see you raise your hand. I'm going to give us the chance to speak. You know the past is looking more glorious than the present. You know you are bored at the task already. You're bored at the task already. It's monotonous, like it's repetitive. There's no excitement. No matter how much you make from that endeavor, it's not fulfilling already. But when you begin to have fear, this is how I know it is time to move on. When I know it, for me, when I know I'm bored, there is no excitement in the whole thing, and then I am unable to take a step because I fear what might be at the other side. If I leave this job now, am I going to get a job that pays me better? If I stop this thing, how do I survive? So when the fear of the unknown is holding you back, when you know you've reached the apex and the fear of the unknown is holding you back, it might be a time to evolve. So that's what I can think of. So I want to come to us, and I will start with Sarah Joanne. When do you know it is time to evolve? How do you know it is time to evolve? How do you know this is the time where I should move on to something else? How do you know this time I should leave this place and get to something? So, Sarah, I'd love to hear from you.
Good evening. How is everyone?
Everyone is fine. I hope so. I'm answering for them.
It's a good one. But I think it's time to evolve when one, you're the best in that field and there's no more room for growth in that particular area. So
Whoa.
I'd give an example of you're in a company, you've been promoted to the highest level and there's no room for growth. I think it's now time to evolve and to look for another place to go, because if you don't go, then like the proverb says, you'd be the one-eyed man in the land of the blind. So if you know you've not reached your full potential, let me rephrase it. If you know you've not reached your full potential, but there's no more room for growth in that field or in that company for you, it's time to evolve.
Amazing. When I'm trying to populate this slide, so thank you, Sarah Joanne. That was deep. When you have reached your full potential and there is no more room for growth.
Sorry, sir, when you've not reached your full potential.
When you have not reached, I mean, so when you have not
Yes.
your full potential, there's no more room for growth for you in that field. Then it is time to evolve. Thank you so much, Sarah.
You're welcome.
I love how you put this. Thank you so much. Okay, Shimese, over to you.
Uh-huh. All right, thank you. I want to look at it from two factors, intrinsic and extrinsic, in my opinion.
Okay.
And the first one, intrinsic, feeds into what Sarah just said. Sometimes it could be the fact that the space we are in or the field we find ourselves in, we've gotten to a point where there's something Mr. Tekena called creative restlessness that he taught some time earlier, right? Where within that space, there is a dissatisfaction in you with the saturation here. You feel like there is more, and you feel like you're not getting it here. And so you feel the move to step out. And like you said, sometimes it could be scary for us because it could be that people have come to identify us with this. And somehow we've attached our identity and our validation with this, with where we are. And so stepping out to the unknown, to a new field, sometimes because this is evolution, it would often require us to step out into or step outside our comfort zone, step outside our familiar fields. And so that fear of, would I make it? Am I sure this would work out? Would it look like I'm not sure of myself, especially on a personal level? And I say this, having experienced this myself, sometimes it feels like, would it look like I'm not sure of myself, while every other person seems to be stable, defined about where they are going or what they are doing. And I'm trying to focus on this because I want to bring it to a personal level, which I think many of us can relate to it. Sometimes it's that, for example, I'm 31, and if I'm to move into start something new, okay, and it feels like those around, those I see as my contemporaries, my peers, they seem to be stable in what they are doing. They seem to have been on that path for a long time. And I feel like this is a new place I need to venture into. There could be the share in me that would it look like I'm still trying to figure out things? Would it look like I don't know what I'm doing with my life? You know, that fear, but there is a need. I know that there is a need in me that where I am, the space I'm in, cannot satisfy. I need to evolve to something else to fulfill the desires and the longing for wholeness and excitement in me. And I think oftentimes, like the question, how do we know it's time to involve? I think oftentimes we can tie it to our emotions, our prevailing emotions regarding that. I paid attention when you put up the screen on Serena, the quote by Serena, when she said the last part of that listen, she said, being a mom, my spiritual goals, and finally discovering a different but just exciting Serena. That emotion is important. Because it gives hints to the fact that yes, I'm moving into a new space, but I'm also excited. There's something inside of me that is longing for this new phase. I remember watching the video of Mike Tyson, his last fight, his last boxing match. After the match, he practically announced that he was ending boxing. And there's something he said. He said, I told myself the day I lose the joy in doing this, the day I lose the excitement in doing this, then there's no point staying on and desecrating this game. I need to move on from this. You understand? Now, the extrinsic factors, everything I've said fits into what I consider to be intrinsic factors. But sometimes there could be external factors that show us that there is a need to evolve. And this is seen more obviously on an organizational scale, on a business scale. Like we talked about Samsung and the Korean one, all of that. And if we see, just like in basic biology, evolution, if you look at the theory of evolution, organisms evolved into newer species and different species based on changes and needs in environment. So, for example, because of the Korean War, they had to move and start up a new line of business. If we look through some of the automobile car makers, their history, especially for those of them that started before the First and Second World Wars, you see that during the World Wars, they largely repurposed into rendering services for aviation, jet fighters, materials for jet fighters, lasers, and all of that. They were originally automobile in the automobile business, but during the World War, nobody really cared about luxury cars and all of that. So they had to evolve to the need of the time. And then after the war, they went back to doing what they were doing before. And we could see that over and over again. So sometimes it could be, especially as a business, that we get to a point where we ask ourselves, am I so insistent on trying to push the original idea I wanted, or is it time to evolve into something that is more necessary for the people I'm serving, or for the environment I'm serving, right? Maybe I started with a burning passion for trying to do a particular brand of clothing and all of that. But I look at the environment, I look at where the world is going, and I'm like, wait a second, or what is a very big pain point or need that I can fulfill? I don't have to be stuck on or what I want to sell to them or give to them. Maybe I should evolve to rendering a service that fulfills or solves a problem that these people need, rather than trying to push on them something that they don't need, something that they don't want. So that's, in my opinion, another indication that perhaps if I want to continue as this business, if I want to continue in this industry, maybe I should evolve to this and this service, maybe I should evolve to this and this product, because it is what satisfies the need of this time. Yeah, so those are my the two ways I look at it.
Amazing, amazing. Thank you so much. And all these are deep. I know we have time to talk about all of this, but I want to give us heads up. This meeting will end in 8 minutes because it's on a free account, not a paid version. So what you can do for me, please, when the meeting goes off, I know it's been an exciting one for you. Please kindly click on that same link to rejoin the game. All right. Kindly click on that same link to rejoin again. Is that okay by us, please? Is that okay by us, please?
That's okay, sir.
All right. Thank you so much, sir. Okay.
Yes, it is.
Okay. Thank you so much. Yeah. I want to go follow the way I'm seeing it on my screen. I want to go to, I know at that age they just joined the call, so she might not know what we're talking about. But I want to put someone else on the spot. Oliver Brown, when do you think it is time to evolve? From personal experience and what you've seen around. I need to create space. Oliver, you can unmute.
Okay. Good evening, everybody.
Good evening, ma'am.
Well, I think one thing I've come to realize is life is progressive. So at certain point in our life, we tend to move on from one thing to the next. So for me right now, considering what I do and what I'm into, I've seen that, okay, I think I've had my time at this particular thing. And then I'm looking on to something that's looking really interesting for me. I'm like, I want to try my hands in like a time where what you're currently doing does not seem that interesting as everybody has said. And then there's something else you are seeing that looks really interesting, like, okay, it's calling to a certain part of me. And I feel like, okay, let's give it a try. Let's try our hands on this thing. So I think what can also cause us to evolve is when we find something that is more interesting than what we're currently doing, something that calls to a certain part of us. Because I believe that everybody is multifaceted. We tend to find expression in certain areas. It's not like it's just one spot. For you, you are a very good writer, you're a relationship coach. Be a time where you would now move from probably writing, okay, so maybe you want to get more into video editing because there's something you're saying that is calling to a part of you that wants to find expression. So I believe when that point comes, when you feel like, okay, let me explore a certain part of myself, I think it
Okay, did you lost that there? Okay, I think I need to go went up. Okay, Oliver, we heard you. Thank you so much, Oliver. We heard you. And that's powerful. When you have had your time, I had to make this word the capital time. When you have had your time, when you've seen all that there is to it, when you explore everything. I know it might not be you might not get everything, but sometimes you have had your time when that task is no more interesting, according to what Oliver said. You have had your time. Let me shake the table. When that relationship is more interesting, you have had your time. Maybe it's time to move on to somebody else that's very interesting. Maybe there's somebody that's maybe there's someone that's catching your fancy. Maybe you have to move on to somebody very interesting. But not gonna move on to that. It's not now it's work with love. It's different. A recap of what we've done thus far. We've seen the concept of evolving, looking at today's Hangout subject matter, giving yourself the permission to transcend old chapters or maybe current chapters. Then we looked at the case study of Samsung and made you understand that Samsung used to sell dried fish. Those fish that you buy and smoke the fish, they're selling it. Yes. And Samsung was selling noodles. And I asked a question. Imagine today you walk into a grocery store or maybe a little kiosk somewhere. You said, I want to buy Samsung. And then they bring noodles for you. Because in Nigeria, there's a brand we call Indomie. Indomie is the brand's name. So I won't buy Indomie. So they give you Indomie. So imagine it is today now and you're saying, I want to buy noodles. If Samsung didn't.
Samsung S20 would have been like super pack.
Oh my God. That would have been the case study for Samsung if they didn't evolve. All right. And we saw what caused their major first evolution was the colonial war that broke out. Then they went into sugar production, into textile. Before later 1960 to 1980, we saw them move into electronics, then to telecommunication. They had a printing press, digital printing press. Then in the 2000 to what we have now, we see phone. We don't know what the next decade holds. Perhaps we don't know what they'll be producing next. Perhaps maybe the next virtual conferencing platform might be Samsung. We say, okay, let's Samsung, not let's Zoom. Maybe let's Samsung. Let's come at. So we don't know what is happening, but people are evolving, and we all need to evolve with the tide. And we looked at we talked about Dwayne Johnson from being a comedian to being a wrestler, and then recently an actor who is doing amazingly well. And then we looked at the case of Serena Williams, and this is the most inspiring story right now because she is evolving, and now we're asking ourselves, when is it time to evolve? And we've had a couple of conversations, a couple of feedback. I know it's time to evolve when the only thing holding me back is the fear of the unknown. I know it's just a time to take the next step. Big emotions, like Ticket called it, big emotion, big goals. That notwithstanding, we take the next step to the next phase of life. We don't know what it holds, but we will not know what is on the other side if we don't evolve. All right. And we had a couple of feedback. We had Sarah and Joanne said, when you have not reached your full potential and there is no more room for growth in that field, you know that you feel limited. You know that there's so much I can do, but it's not finding expression there. There might be time to evolve. It might be time to move on. It might be time to close that chapter and then say yes to the next chapter. It could be that the fact that the field we find ourselves is not creating a dissatisfaction. That same thing that used to give you your maximum satisfaction. It's not the reason why you are dissatisfied. It's the reason why you are bored. It might just be time. And that's what TK calls creative restlessness. All right. Then we looked at a couple of more. You can read them on the slide. So as you are saying it, I'm updating this. I'm hoping that we can come up with a PDF on this and then send out, hopefully before the next hangout. Now we've heard from quite a number of persons. I long to hear from Grandma. So Grandma Lai, when is it time to evolve? By the way, how are you feeling today? How are you enjoying yourself, Grandma? Grandma, you can unmute. It's time to evolve when my baby in the house is giving me noise. Maybe I have to go and cage her somewhere. Grandma, are you there? Okay. While we wait for Grandma, I think we're going to give Grandma a little time. Let's go to somebody else. Believe Godwin. When is it time to evolve? Or maybe it's Grandma typing. When is it time to evolve, Believe? You can unmute.
Okay. Good evening, everyone. Can you all hear me?
Yes, sir. We can hear you.
Okay. I think I've had a couple of experiences that demanded me to evolve from one point to another. And while we were having this conversation, I had to just do a mental run through of all of those experiences. So at the core, for me, I feel it's how I have these experiences that the first thing that happens is I have this intuitive knowing. It's just like it's a knowing, but I have restlessness, like the creative restlessness, like come on, it's time to move on. So when I have that knowing on the inside, that is usually the first thing. And what happens is that I start getting voices around me. So what I do,
you start getting what?
Voices around me that says, yes, like I tend to get people
feedback from people, right?
I don't tell them about it. I just, so at the first, what happens is that once I have that intuitive knowing, like an inner knowing that it's time to move on. So what I experience is that I just become restless and I don't get satisfaction from that stuff. So what I do next is to pay attention to what is happening around me. So usually what I have is that either one or two persons will come to me, I believe you just have to move on from this stuff. That's just my thoughts. So they bring it as a suggestion. Maybe we're just having it comes as a suggestion. So I just know it's time. I've had this virtually in all the basic phase, major aspect of my life. And that is how I've used to evolve. I think even recently before I opened my business, I actually traveled to a particular state. And while I was there, I just had it as a thought that I believe it's time you just build a business around this your skill. So I was like, I don't really know what to do. So immediately I came back from that journey, the first conversation I had with someone was like, the guy just came to me and said, yeah, I've been think of something up. I just feel you should get on with this stuff. I just knew that is time for me to just move on. So with that feedback, I just get on with my life. Even recently, I created I think a Telegram group on, I wanted to mentor some people in my industry, but I wasn't having that connection on the inside that it was time for me to get into that. I'd always desired to do that, but I couldn't. So I created a group about, I think, April this year. The group was just dormant. It had only me and one other person, just the two of us. Nothing happened there. But recently, I think I put up a class there. How that even came up was that I was just in my room and became restless. I just felt, Liv, it is time for you to start giving back to the society. It's time for you to start nurturing. So I just put up that free version of the stuff, and a lot of persons came on board. And today we had the first version of that conversation, which was still on that same group that I created since April. So basically, it's first having that intuitive knowing for me, and then matching it with the feedback I get around. Okay, so that's what it is for me. So it has worked. So okay.
Thank you so much, Believe. Thank you so much. Now, the idea behind all of this is that no idea is wrong, no opinion is wrong. All right, no opinion is wrong. There is wisdom in everything you are saying. All right. So that said, Benny, you want to say something?
Yeah, I want to say something. Good evening once more. You see, not actually, I don't really have like much contribution, but it's, like this, I can say this is actually what is happening with me right now at the moment. Like following what belief Godwin has said. Really I do not know it because I really want to. This is like this bird is in my heart, like in me on daily basis. Like I need to change this job now. I need to move forward. Like daily, it just keep
And
coming. Like I need to
today
do something.
your environment is
Yeah,
partnering with
yeah,
you to tell you it's time to move on.
yeah. You see, then I like even like I already got what I want to do next, but I'm still contemplating should I do it or not. Then just this morning, my colleague came on this day. He was just discussing with me. Then on discuss, he was just discussing me same on that direction. So I was just talking to myself like, could it be this? Like, could it be that is this thing? Is this something that I should really go to, or I should stop? So it is really in me. So, but I kept doubting, like, it's time to move on. But I still have this fear. And then this meeting is just so was like impacting me again, like just telling me more, like, then you really have to do it. You really just you have to do this now. And thank you so much, because even my time here, if I like if this meeting should end now, I think I've got the best for the day. I'm really excited. Thank you
Amazing.
so much.
Amazing. Thank you.
Yeah,
You
thank
can see
you.
why I said no idea is a waste. You see it now. So you can see now it's already been put to test. His environment and his relationship already partners with his restlessness and his intuition that it's time to move on. And if you go to church, for those who might be Christians, they say out of the mouth of 2 or 3 witnesses, the truth they said is established. All right. That said, I want to be able to move on to Victoria Adeola. Victoria Adeola, if you are there, if you can unmute, please. When do you think it's time to evolve, to move on?
Good evening, everyone. I think everyone has said it, but I will emphasize on when you're dissatisfied and when you're restless. I feel like when you're restless or dissatisfied at what you're currently doing, then I feel like it's now the time to evolve and do something else. But again, also you don't just move on and do something else. I think you actually need to factor in, allow me to say this, I really love all of us here are Christians, but you really need to factor in what God's telling you. Because I feel like majority of the time, we feel like yes, it's time to evolve, but that's not what God has for you in the season. So you actually need to factor that in. So it's not a matter of, oh yes, I'm feeling like I'm dissatisfied. I'm feeling like I'm not getting my full potential, but what is God telling me now? If you understand what I mean. So I feel like in all this evolving, when is it time to evolve? I feel like God should be at the center, at the forefront of everything. Because if you move by your feelings, sometimes you might find out that what you're moving into might not be actually be your I can't put it. Might not actually be what is actually giving you satisfaction. In short, yeah, that's my own take
Amazing.
on this topic.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Victoria. Thank you so much. That's powerful. Amazing. What is your highest spiritual authority or belief telling you? What is it telling you? Sometimes God can just wake you up, and tell you it's time to move on. All right. We've heard from quite a number of persons. I want to go to Mr. Jubo. We're going to hear from everybody this evening. Some persons will speak on the next slide, which we are going to. So, okay, don't worry. I want Mr. Jubo to come on the next slide. How do I evolve? How do I evolve? But I want to get one more feedback on this slide. And I want to be able to hear from Precious. Precious, when is it time to evolve? When do you think it's time to evolve? If you can turn on your mic, Precious, I will appreciate it. When do you think it's time to evolve?
Hi, good evening.
Hi, good evening.
Yeah, I think everyone has pretty much said everything. But I'd like to add that I feel like it's time to evolve when your current position no longer aligns with your vision for the future. When what you're doing right now feels risky, you're finding it hard to picture yourself in that future without moving on from that particular point that you're at. I think that's pretty much it. So I think it's time to evolve when your vision for the future and that now, when you compare the both of them, they are different worlds apart. It's a chore to continue to be in this position and then go towards the future that you envision. Yeah.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Precious. I really appreciate this. When your current position no longer aligns with your vision for the future, that is deep. Now we've seen the signs that it's time to evolve. We have more than enough of them right now. I know there may be more feedbacks on that. For the sake of time, I want to know, we know it is time to evolve, but sometimes how do I evolve? You see me, even me, I'm blank, so I have to put 3 dots here. I don't know. How do I evolve? How do I move on from this thing? How? Who can tell me what do I need to do first? What are the steps? What do I need to do? How do I evolve? And I see Shimeze putting numbers on. Okay, let me start with Shimeze. Then I'll come to Mr. Ajibo. Then I'll come to Messi. I'm saying it the way I would go through. Then I'll come to Adaize. Then I'll come to Musabi. So everyone is going to talk. So, okay, Shimeze, you can unmute your mic right now. How do I evolve?
Okay. When you asked the question, I was thinking about it inside of me, and I'm not giving us a way firmly fixed answer, but an idea around the how. Because I feel like the how is sometimes a gamble. What I mean by that is it's a calculated gamble. What I mean by that is oftentimes in our journey of evolution, we don't know the entire picture of what we can find there.
I think it's the word risk.
Yes, like a risk, yes. Because, and I feel that part of the joy and the delight in it is the process. Because, if I remember, I can't remember who said this, but the person said that the mystery of the process is what gives joy to the story, right? In the fact that if I ask, how do I evolve? I think from everything we've said concerning when should I evolve, once we have those indications, I think it's a case of stepping out in faith. Knowing oftentimes that we do not yet know the full picture. And oftentimes, even all the beautifully crafted pictures and ideas we have around how we want to evolve and where we want to evolve into, as we step out and start the process, in the journey, in taking the step, in beginning the process of evolution, we begin to realize that there is more to this journey than I could envision. And I think that's the beautiful thing about it. If I may use a more spiritual slant, it's the fact that oftentimes the saying that eyes have not seen, ears have not heard, and neither has it entered into the hearts of men what is in store for us, actually is absolutely true in the journey of evolution, because we start out on a journey with an idea of, okay, I mean, I believe if we were to ask every one of us here, some of us have some grand idea about what we want to do, some beautiful magic we want to create in the world in the next 5, 10, 15, 20, 25 years. But the interesting thing about it is, no matter how grand that is, by the time we start off on that journey, we begin to realize the picture gets bigger as we continue on the journey.
Yeah.
It gets bigger as we continue on the journey. So if we want to figure out all the how of all the processes, we'll never start. So I feel like in my opinion, one of the answers, like I said, I don't think there's a set in stone answer, but one of the answers to the how do I evolve is understanding that if I've gotten the conviction or the indication that I should move, start with what you have, start with where you are, take the next step. Was the Mr. Tekena, when he taught the 5% more principle, what little step can I take today in the direction of that evolution with what I have, with where I am? We'll just keep taking tiny little steps and see what unfolds. While we were talking, I took some time to actually Google the etymology of the word evolution. I take delight in trying to understand the history of words. And it's interesting that the root word for evolution, evolve, actually speaks about unwrapping. It literally talks about unwrapping. So how do I evolve? It's like the definition, the original definition talks about like unwrapping a scroll. And that's the beautiful thing about it. It's like a story that has been written for us, but we don't yet know the entire story. So I just take a little step as I unfold the scroll, and as I keep reading, as I keep figuring out, I begin to see how much bigger than me the goal or the dream is. I begin to see how much more vast my evolution can be, even beyond what I have in my mind. So I think it's just taking that next step. What is the next right step you see ahead of you? It's like going into a dark flight of stairs. I don't know how many stairs I'm going to need to take to get to the top because it's all dark. I can only see a little path ahead of me, but I'll just keep stepping one step at a time and see how the evolution. And sometimes we can realize in the process of it that as I have intended to evolve in this direction, again, based on need, based on the passions of our heart, based on the direction of the Spirit of God or whatever higher being we subscribe to in us, I'm actually start off on this direction as I unfold these and I me is anticipated myself. I genuinely believe that we can never at any point in time have all the answers regarding where our evolution is taking us. And that's the beauty of the journey.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Shimizu. Okay, I was going to go to the next person, but please, guys, don't leave the call. We're going to take a group picture after the meeting. I would really appreciate that. So you just stay with me. I won't take too much of your time, but I just want to put Shimizu on the spot again for a few minutes. If you can say it in 60 seconds. I hear you talk about embracing the risk and everything and moving on. And in the shape community, there's a concept called the saboteurs. What prevalent saboteur do you think might stop people from really embracing this risk and moving on? And how might that
victim, hyper-rational, avoider. I can think of different ways that so many of the saboteurs, the avoider saboteur can show up in the discomfort of the uncertainty, because the avoider saboteur doesn't want you to confront what is uncomfortable or what is uncertain. So rather than the discomfort of moving out of my comfort zone to try something I'm not sure of the outcome, the avoider might want me to just stick to what is comfortable, what is normal, what is known to me. If we would think about, for example, the hyper-rational can over-process the possibility of failure, in which case we can begin to talk about things like imposter syndrome, where I might begin to consider a lot of things to justify why I may not be capable, I may not have all the resources, I may not be competent enough for the new direction I feel I want to go into. And so there are different ways saboteurs can play. Victim can show up in the sense that I begin to think that everything is against me moving out of here. And so maybe it's best for me to just make do with what I have or with where I am. You understand? So there are different ways the saboteurs can show up and sabotage our desire and our longing for something higher than where we are.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Neve. Please, guys, in less than 15 minutes, we'll be done with this meeting. So just hang in there with me. Whoa, I want to hear from Mr. Sugar. Hello, sir. How do I evolve? I'm stuck right here now. I want to evolve away from this singlehood. I want to evolve into something more important. How do I
Okay, thank you very much, Philip. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay. For me, first of all, the question is when it's time to evolve.
Yeah.
And I didn't have the opportunity to talk then.
Okay, okay.
Pretty much, I think that the time to evolve is when everything around you keep calling your name. Like, that's the new direction keeps calling your name. Like, come on, come on, come on. I think that's the best. That's high time to move on. So you would know that it is time to move on because everything around you will just be calling your name. That's what I think. That's how I think that it's time to move on. Awesome. Then come to how to evolve. Coming to how to evolve, I would look at it from the point of trusting in is it God now? That's trusting in your faith, trusting in putting your trust in the God that is calling you. Okay, so I'll just put it like faith. The how is based on how much faith, because the truth, the way I see it is that by the time as you're doing things here and there, is building to your next level. Some of them may be relevant now, some of them may not be relevant now, but then as you move on to your next level, as you next point of call, you obviously just see how those things that you have grabbed over years, over time, will just begin to fall in place for you to move on in the new direction that you're going. So all of them, I would see that as faith. That is why I would not discourage anybody from doing anything or taking any responsibility around it, because it is not a waste of time.
Yeah.
Or it is not a waste of opportunity. It will obviously play out in the next direction because everything is working around for our good. Everything is just working for you for good. So whichever way you are coming from, whichever information you have grabbed over the years is preparing you for your next level. If you miss them, when you get to that level, then that is when you begin to learn them. That is when you begin to know them. So like Chimeze earlier said, when you take the steps, so you begin to unravel them. So it's like you begin to open them up step by step. As you open them up, you begin to see, oh, this is what I should, this is where this thing I learned, or this is where this comes up. So how you evolve is just faith, trust in where you're going. Because I always ask myself, especially when people come to ask me or when I want to move on, I said, when the challenges come, what is the thing that will keep you on it? What will keep you on it is that thing that you trusted that it is time to move. If you don't have that trust, if you don't have that calling, that conviction, you won't stay on it when the challenges, when the sea gets rough.
Yeah.
So I always ask myself, and I always ask people when they say I want to move, I said, if it gets rough, what will keep you on this journey? So what keeps you on the journey is that internal strength that you got, that you said it's time to move on. That thing that called your name, that you heard and say it's time to move on. That's how I want to look at it.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
How you do your head? How you do your head?
This read your speaking train. Okay, thank you so much. Thank you so much, Mr. Ajibo. That is really much appreciated. Guys, we'll soon be rounding off and we'll take a group photo or a group video, so please don't go away. Are you enjoying the conversation at all? Let me get feedback. Put your, just while somebody is talking now, I'm about to go to Messi. while she's talking, just give me your feedback. Are you enjoying this conversation at all? Okay, Doc, over to you. How do I evolve?
Okay, thank you, Philip. Yes, we've said so many things, but I feel like evolution is something that is key for every human being, and not just humans, even animals.
Okay.
The snake will shed off his skin and, have a new skin. So I feel like it is, especially when Chimeze explained it, like unraveling, unwrapping what is inside. So I feel we need to align with our core values. We need to align with those things that are important to us in order to evolve. That's something that is key, because we said when do we know it's time to evolve? We talked about our expectations, what we've envisioned for ourselves. So how to evolve is now aligning with those things, those core values, and knowing that, okay, this is what I want. These are the things that are important to me. So you now move in that direction. And also a certain degree of self-awareness, because in order to know the timing, you also need to be aware of what is happening. You also need to be able to listen to what is happening on your inside and all the signals that are happening, because you may as well just hear and decide that, or you get so busy and you don't realize that it is time now to move or go to the next step. And like the person that just spoke said, these steps are important because we're in a process, like from class 1, you go to class 2, then you now get into university and all of that. So we need to go through these processes. So it's very important that we are sensitive enough to pick the times that we need to evolve, or the timing, and aligning with our core values are important also in order to enable us evolve.
Okay. Okay, I'm with you.
Yeah. Okay, I think pretty much that's what.
All right, amazing. Thank you so much. And if I'm to add to this, I hear her talk about self-awareness. I want to say partner with your emotions. To evolve, you might have to partner with your emotions. If you've not, there's a video I would love us to see. I don't know if it's still on Facebook. Tickets for, is it 49th? That's is it 48th birthday? The one you did it in Chimeze on Facebook.
Partner with positive emotions.
Yeah.
Learn. Sorry?
Are you there? Yes, are you still talking?
Okay, yes. Okay, no, I said yes, that's something we need to do. Partner with positive emotions. Be able to navigate the path.
Yeah, thank you so much. So there is this concept TK taught in his two birthdays session ago, with Chimede was like it in big emotions, big goals. Big emotions, big goals. As you look at this, I hope I can go around. We have just like 10 minutes, I'll be done. Less than 10 minutes. As you look at this, you begin to see that the emotions are big. The goal is big. It's big having to move away from this. It's big having to imagine God calling Moses that stammering shepherd man and say, I'm about to give you a responsibility. You have to move from being the one that is attending to Jethro's sheep to attend to an entire nation and lead them. The goal was so big, and so was the emotions. So you don't fight the emotion, you partner with the emotion. I'm just dropping, as you guys are talking, I'm just getting ideas, I'm dropping this. And if you move away from that, he said something again that there is a partner for every goal. Let's rephrase it like this for this. That's why I evolve. There is a partner for every new phase. There is an environment for every new phase. There is a relationship for every new phase. The relationship, the environment, the partners that served your previous cycle that you now feel dissatisfied about may not serve your new phase. So the question for you who might want to evolve after this meeting is who might be the partner for your new phase?
Can I also add what environment might be conducive to nurture the demand of this message?
Amazing. What environment might be conducive to nurture the demand of this new phase. And this is where you can now start drawing. If you're in this meeting right now, this is the point where you start drawing action steps. Action steps. Now you know you want to evolve. Now you've embraced the risk and uncertainties. You've known that I will use what I have right now. What I have is enough. You know that I have to align to core values, like Nancy said. You know that I have to be self-aware. I have to partner with positive emotions. But now the question is, who might I partner with again? Who do I need to call now? Who do I need to talk to and say, okay, I'm with you all the way? Who might be my Aaron? Who might need to speak with me at the place where I get to meet with the king, where I cannot talk? What environment do I need to step into? And more importantly, what environment do I need to leave? Because our life is literally a sum total of relationships and environments. Relationships and environments. Because you are becoming who you are with. You are becoming what you are hearing. You are becoming what you are seeing. All right. So even in your room, what picture do I need to take out? Maybe you have to take out that award plaque sitting on your desk. That's one they gave in your previous place. Maybe you have to take it away. Maybe you have to take away some old pictures. What thing do I need to evacuate from this room? What new picture do I need to start seeing? What picture now picture my next level, my new phase? What do I need to start seeing? And these and many more. One last person I can take. I know I can't go through all. They already told me I have like less than 5 minutes. I want to hear from, I long to hear from Musabi. So, Annette Musabi, I hope I got that pronunciation right. How do I involve, please? Okay.
Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, how do I evolve? It's like you guys have said so much. Maybe for me, I can just use an example.
Okay.
I'm trying to look at somebody who's been a successful CEO. In fact, for me, the best example would be Serena Williams, because she's just, in fact, she said she has not retired, she's evolving.
Yeah.
And she actually said Evolve 2.0. And so when she was asked how she's evolving, she said, because of being such a legend in the, in tennis, it has given her a platform. And being, somebody from the black race, she's opened up the platform for other young girls. So she wants to evolve using that same platform. She said she wants to work with women and, support women in different spheres. In areas where she's interested. So looking at it, imagine that now maybe you're a successful CEO or a successful manager, having maybe worked in the banking industry, whichever industry for the last 15, 20 years. So how do you evolve? You take stock of what you have. I normally follow this former CEO of Ford. He's called Alan Mulally. So like for him, what he has done, having done such a successful work at Ford, so now he's lecturing at the various Ivy League universities, Stanford, the likes, Harvard, and then of course you can also evolve and out of the experiences that you have, because now you're taking stock of the skills and the experience that you have acquired all through these years, because you have achieved. By the time you're getting to the CEO or the president of such a multinational, a global company, so what else is left for you? So now he's an author, he's a speaker. So there are so many ways in which you can evolve so that you don't remain stagnant. So for me,
Awesome.
those are ways in which you can evolve.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Annette. Thank you so much, everybody, guys. So guys, we have less than 4 minutes to go. I want us to take a group picture. So if you can, please, I want you to turn on your video if you can. You can turn on your video. I will appreciate it. If you can't turn on your video, it's okay. But if you can, I really appreciate it that you do, so we can take a group picture. Meanwhile, how was the conversation for us? Feedback. How was the conversation? Okay, I see already. I'm learning a lot. Ada is, I don't know the pronunciation. I wish I could come to you to talk, but I'm hoping we can have another meeting like this again. All right. So guys, I want to encourage us, just in case just in case you just came in, and Monkushi may say, please, can you drop the link for them to, if this is your first time, we want to admonish you to go and take the saboteur test and be in our space, be in our community. So Uncle Shimezi is going to drop the link to our Telegram channel and also a link to talk to us on WhatsApp. So I'm expecting the link to come up. While I'm waiting for more persons to turn on their videos and their pictures, I can see your names though, so I'm just gonna go ahead and snap my picture. All right. So I'm like my style like this. I see you, Benny. Amazing. You changed your clothes just now. Got like 2 minutes to go. So I'm snapping my picture. This is how I like to do my style. Amazing. Amazing, 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 amazing. I think that's where
Leave, snap it again, no.
I should snap it again. Yeah, snap it.
Super, so I want to know my clothes. AC is not working even this night. Heat.
Smile if you're on the video. Okay, guys, I'm done snapping it. Oh, thank you so much. Thank you so much. I want to hear feedback from us. Just you can unmute now and tell me how you feel. You can just unmute randomly. Don't worry, there are no protocols anymore. So, how do you feel? I haven't come this far. How do you feel? How was the meeting for you? Oh, Nana joined us a bit late. There's so much we have touched. I wish you can. Maybe there'll be a replay. The meeting is recorded, so I'm hoping we can get the replay, but not that notwithstanding. Guys on mute, believe on mute. How was it for you? Annette, you can unmute. How was it for you? Esther, how was it for you? Oh, River, unmute. How was it for you? How was it? How was it?
I hope we can get the video. I know I came in a bit late, but I've enjoyed the last bit of the conversation.
Okay, we'll see to that. We'll see to that. We'll see to that.
Would you guys want us to do a second version of this or to explore another conversation next weekend?
What's the next conversation? First, tell us that one.
That would have to be decided by Monday. But what we can do is, and I'm asking this, really, really hoping that we can please help us with this, is we can drop suggestions on